Okay, we'll make a start. Just a couple of minutes late, so I do apologise for that. Just making sure the technology is working, which is rather appropriate because today's event we've got a real focus on the world of digital and technology and looking at what the sector's up to in the city. We've got some fantastic guest speakers. We've got more ISAP and Ram Gupta joining us. And once we've spoken to them, we've also got Nathan Chu joining us as well to give us an update on what the Chamber's doing with chamber space and looking at reopening. It's the 13th of April. The temperature at present could fool you though thinking it is December, and what a great time it is to reopen our beer gardens. Whether anybody got hypothermia yesterday, I'm not too sure, but it makes a pleasant change that they are actually back open and things are slowly returning back to normal. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that continues. Normal Zoom rules apply. Please, if you can mute your microphones. We are recording it. We're also live streaming it as well on the Chamber's YouTube channel. So we're just giving that a run out for the first time just to see what that looks like. So hopefully that will be something that we can do in future to increase the number of people that can actually watch and hear what we are doing. So as I said, today's event, we're going to be focusing in the first part certainly on digital and technology. We've got Digital City Festival taking place over the next couple of weeks, and we've got an event as well on Thursday as well that the Chamber's running, looking at how digital and technology impacts on everything we do in business as well. But we've got some fantastic speakers, and like I said, first of all, I'd like to introduce Mo Isap, who has been and continues to be right at the heart of a lot of the digital and technology initiatives in Greater Manchester and further afield. Mo, good morning, and thanks very much for joining us. You're on mute.
I wasn't before. Somebody's muted me. This is the thing. This is the cyber world playing its tricks.
Playing its tricks on you. It's great to see you. And as I said, you're at the heart of so much that's going on within Greater Manchester and beyond that. And last week you launched a fully funded programme with the Greater Manchester AI Foundry and Lancaster University to support some Greater Manchester SME manufacturers with adopting things around the Internet of Things and artificial intelligence. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So colleagues will be aware of the GM AI Foundry, which is a cross-university program for Greater Manchester. So 4 universities, University of Manchester, MMU, University of Salford and Lancaster University are collaborating. And essentially on the back of the success of their Cyber Foundry program, which was a pre-runner to the AI Foundry program, essentially a £6 million program to support the acceleration of AI research and adoption and commercialization within the regional economy and within businesses particularly. And our work is with Lancaster University on that program, particularly working with manufacturing SMEs on that adoption track and commercializing innovation through that adoption. So we've designed a program with partners, Amazon Web Services and others, where we're going to support 15 manufacturers per cohort. So we're on with recruitment right now, Chris. So any manufacturer that's present here, it's fully funded if you're an SME in Greater Manchester. And the idea is to develop proof of concept into actual use case application and then supporting that company. One of the differences here, Chris, and I'm very wary of, there's been a lot of funded program activity within the region where there's ERDF funding and other funding that's come in, and companies get that sort of assist, whether it's a 12-hour over 12 days, some activity takes place, and then essentially the funding stops. And then you sort of start again, and the companies will it's essentially getting everybody's hopes up and then not really going all the way. And this is a problem in UK PLC, that if you look at our adoption of technology and the technology readiness levels that Innovate UK look at, we still struggle to stay in the sort of 3s and 4s, which is research and development, but they don't transfer into the 7s and 8s where there's real commercial application. And we know through the the vaccine rollout, how if innovation was actually deliberately, worked on through a commercial conduit, you can accelerate from 1 to 8 pretty quickly. But the reality is that we don't have the volume of research money coming into our region in comparison to the south or in the Golden Triangle. So this is a massive thing for us in GM, where the universities have managed to, and through the Greater Manchester Combined Authority and the LEP, securing this sort of money to help our companies accelerate their innovation, but continue that journey. So our play in that as Infor and a host Media City is not to just stop with those companies at the level of the program, but to continue with them to help that proper benefits to come through, which will mean that companies will continue to then get confidence in investing into that. And what we've found in the pandemic now, and what I'm seeing from our clients, is the confidence to invest has really risen. And it's not confidence in the sense that, yes, financially we're all in that sort of shake up, but the confidence of knowing that this is actually an absolutely integral part of my company now. If I don't invest, or if we don't invest in innovation, we are going to lose out. And we've seen that very deliberately now in terms of who's won and who's lost.
Yeah, and I think that whole approach to innovation and the adoption of technology, I mean, it's like this now, what we're doing, isn't it, on Zoom, 13, 14 months ago, this would have been completely alien concept to people. Now we just go on these things without a second thought, So it's beginning to get more and more in people's mindsets, isn't it, about that adoption and innovation. I know for a fact that's something that you've been absolutely, focused on for a good number of years now. You mentioned something in that around Host Media City, and you've just announced the establishment of Skill City there again, which is another fantastic initiative. Can you just explain to people a little bit more about that there, and what benefits that could bring to businesses?
Yeah, I mean, Chris, that we've been in that sort of fast track training environment as Infor with our partners Amazon Web Services. What we're doing at Host is we're scaling that. So the principle of Skill City is that if you're a learner and if you're a person, and then this comes back to the real essence of what we're trying to do, and I think what we need to do as a region as well, is the people-centered innovation activity, people-centered technology acceleration, that the beneficiary has to be the person, whether that person exists within the business or that person is an individual in the community. That must now be seen as an absolute success criteria, because there's no point if we're doing all of this stuff and the majority of our population or the majority of our companies are still not benefiting from that. We're not going to see the prosperity that we seek and the parity and the equality that we need in our region. So this is bringing it back to the people-centered approach, and Host has really set that out very deliberately to say, we're wanting to be people-centered. And what does that really mean? So with Skill City, it means that we are going out actively into community and to actually start to inspire people who may not have had that chance to enter that particular sector, and give them the support to understand that this is a future that they could have, and then fast track them and give them a choice. So tech isn't just about coding. It's not just about computer science. It's many different disciplines, from project management, from digital marketing, from, you'll know that we just announced the Unity Center of Excellence at Host, from developing games and testing games to all of that whole ocean of opportunity that technology and innovation provides. And we want them to see that. And then what we do at Skill City is give them a deliberate pathway, a bridge from the community into the learning environment, and then a pathway into the career. For the employer, this is the thing that all employers are seeking, to bring in the people of diversity into our organizations, that we need that diversity in our organizations. So, but the problem for us is, how do we access that? How do we make that happen? Skill City is going to provide that. Skill City is going to provide the talent, the development of that talent, and the support to the employer to actually then onboard them. So Skill City will be working towards an entry-level, junior engineer level transition into the market at no cost to the employer. So we remove the barrier entirely for the employer to then recruit either on an apprenticeship or at an entry-level technology discipline.
Which is sometimes just that last bit in the equation, isn't it? That people come, and sometimes as employers, you get up to a certain point and you suddenly hit some barriers and you think, hang on a minute, this is getting a little bit too tricky, really, or too costly. So to remove those barriers and also then obviously supply people with the level of training and skills that they actually need is really beginning to hit home. We've got a couple of links in the chat box there for what Mo has been outlining. Mo, I know you've got to dash off, but one final thing, and obviously I'd be really interested in your views on this. Where do you see the future going post-pandemic? Because as things are beginning to reopen now and things are getting a little bit back to normal, what role does innovation have in that road to recovery? I mean, you've touched on it a little bit there, but obviously that's going to play a huge part going forward, isn't it, in how we do things differently in this new world that we're moving into.
So my view on this is that all of our places, whether you talk about a town or a combined authority or a city region or a county, has to have within the heart of it an innovation environment, a cluster. And each region has its own strengths and its own capabilities that it will evolve its innovation streams around. Yeah. But innovation in on itself can be the catalyst towards assuring that leveling up, whether you call it leveling up, whether you call it, sort of accessibility to all communities, prosperity across different, contexts, removing the barriers that are existing around the social barriers, not only the economic barriers. And innovation can be a huge catalyst towards that. From young people in schools all the way through to career starts, career breakers, and so there is an opportunity. Because what innovation will do, and hopefully will do, is drive commercial activity, which for our businesses, that's what we need. Inward investment that attracts investment from outside and say, well, we want to be here. The talent pool that you create will stay here because they won't migrate to the south or somewhere else because there's a better job somewhere. And if we can set that up, and if we can create those clusters, and look, give you an example with Salford, we've got the innovation triangle in Salford. So we've got, within that innovation triangle, you've got University of Salford, you've got Media City, you've got Salford Royal, and you've got Salford City Council, and we sit in the heart of that. Now, as a place within the Greater Manchester conurbation, there are so many amazing assets that we can now lift and say, there's so many opportunities, whether it's startups coming in and developing applications in health or in ed tech or in media and creative, or whether it's creating those jobs through Skill City to go into working in Salford Royal as an innovator, as a technologist, not just as a medical professional, or to drive SMEs to do more innovation because those clusters can support them, whether it's through the universities programs, as well as that innovation stream that places like Media City can accelerate as well. If you put that together, the world will start to look at us. But what we can do is to drive UK PLC into recovery. And the North and the Greater Manchester region can be a massive player to do that. Now, Rochdale's doing the same, Stockport's, and together under Innovation GM, which has just recently been launched that colleagues will know of, this is our vision of a place-based innovation deal, which is at the heart of it is our people, that our communities will benefit, not just a small group of people who will come in, take the money and bugger off. It'll be our people, our citizens who come to the heart of it. And just to sort of close my comment, Chris, when I talk about Host Salford and what we're going to be about and everything that we're going to do, the first event we're actually putting on as host properly is a well-being event. It's a well-being live event at Media City in partnership with that, where a whole week worth of well-being, support and activity and events are going to take place. Why? Because if we're not well, how can any technology help us? And at the heart of it, we need to be optimistic and confident and supported so that we can then drive that innovation and that opportunity to realization. So that's the dial we've got to turn very deliberately. We can't play at it. We can't just sort of touch the edges. We've got to be absolutely 100% committed to it, which is what we're trying to do. And obviously working with yourselves, as partners as well with the chamber, some amazing stuff. We're bringing some cyber MOTs to the members soon to help them with their cyber environment, as well as the AI program, which I would, if any manufacturing companies in GM who are listening today, please do reach out to our team to go onto, our website, www.in40.co.uk. The details will be on there. It's fully funded. Up to 4 staff can be trained and developed to a proof of concept and beyond of technology, AI, and IoT within your organization. So it's and Lancaster University, Amazon Web Services, BA Systems, partners like that are working with us on that.
Okay, brilliant, Mo. Thank you so much for that. An absolute pleasure as always, and it's always that bit of inspiration there, and that forward look is always refreshing. But also, it's backed up by a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication as well. And like I said, if anybody does want more information, we've got links on there. It's in40.co.uk. If you want to find out more about Host Salford, it's hostsalford.co.uk. Please visit them and just see some of the fantastic work that's going on there. And that should be absolutely setting us for a good future here in GM. Well, thank you very much once again for your time. And I'd like now to introduce Ram Gupta from Nibble, another one of the Chamber's partners that we're doing a bit of work on. You could say that with marine digital and technology issues. Ram, good morning and welcome.
Good morning. I actually remembered to unmute my microphone, Chris. So.
Well done. It'll probably get muted again in a minute. You never know. Got the gremlins in the system, but who knows? Ram, obviously, just following up on some of the things that Mo talked about there, and I'd be interested to find out your sort of views on the recruitment of good, people with the right skills for the industry. Obviously, you're involved in the IT industry, and where do you see the growth areas in that sector in the future?
First of all, thanks, Chris, for inviting us over this morning, and thanks for everyone for attending. I'm by all means no expert, unlike Mo, who's an absolute accolade in his field, and for what he does for the community, and not only the community, but for the community of Greater Manchester. So, from being a leader to a follower, as a follower, what we're seeing is huge opportunity, not just for the employers, but for the employees as well. If you look at some of the initiatives that are now around, like for example Infor, the sort of technology hubs, the sort of training and skills that are available, I'd probably liken it to almost like a beehive, where cities like Greater Manchester are the actual beehive. They are pulling in the sort of little bees, aren't they? And the little bees are now going out and they pollinating the sort of businesses that they surround. So, the opportunities are absolutely huge, we think. As an employer, again, we're seeing a huge increase in demand. We're seeing a massive increase in demand in terms of the actual skill talent that's available. But we're also seeing a great push from businesses for a different skill level. Yep. I was watching a program last night about the environment, and David Attenborough was on it. And if you look at the way the business environment has changed, just liken it to climate change, right? If we don't change, we're not going to survive. It's pure and simple. Yeah, we have to adapt, we have to change, we have to take advantage of these initiatives that are available to us to be able to get the right people. So things like apprenticeship programs have been very successful. The risk-free skills training that Mo was just talking about, again, massive opportunity for businesses. The Kickstart program, which I know the GM Chamber is also a massive part of, these are all available for businesses to be better. and to provide better services.
Mm. Just obviously, we're looking at the sort of oven-ready product, aren't we, of staff coming into a business. If you were to take that back a bit and say to a much younger person now around, the sort of path they should follow, and if they're wanting to get into IT, into technology or whatever, should they go down that sort of traditional education path, or should they start to look at doing things a lot earlier? And if it is about doing things a lot earlier, are we set up as a society to allow that to happen? Or are we still structured around get to a certain age, then you start to diversify?
Great question, Chris. I think if we go back to our generation, we always had the traditional sort of education path, and a lot of us were forced almost to follow that path because there wasn't really many other options. With the death of apprenticeships going back to the 80s and 90s, the only actual path was really academia. You either started your own business or you followed the path of academia. I think if you're becoming a doctor or thinking of becoming a doctor, I think you still should perhaps consider following the academia path I'm not sure training and apprenticeships is quite the right path for you, but particularly for IT and many other careers, and I'll specifically focus on IT. I think the apprenticeship path is a good accelerator into your career. Professional qualifications, it helps you pick the right areas. You get a taste of which all the different diverse areas that IT can offer you, from all the way through from IoT to AI, all the way through to coding, which again might end up becoming a thing of the past. Yeah, all the way through to infrastructure, DC, cyber. Yeah, you get a good taste of that, and you will only get a taste of that if you don't concretize your mind. Now, sometimes, I'm not saying that the education path is not the right way to go. Of course, you need educating, but there is an alternative now, and the alternative is very viable in the form of apprenticeships, work placements. It might even complement the traditional education path. So you might end up enrolling onto a degree that is that you think that you might want to do. But certainly, I don't think in IT you can avoid the benefits of work placements and real experience.
Yeah, no, it's interesting to hear that. And just going to move on now to another subject. And we've been having talks about this on and off for the last couple of weeks as well. I'm going to touch on something that the chairman's been doing quite a bit of work on, and I know you have as well, around digital poverty. And at Nibble, you've got a fantastic story to tell about what you've been doing about this. So just want to let people know on here today, just a little bit about what yourselves have been doing to tackle the issue around digital poverty.
Yeah, sure. So I think when the pandemic started, I don't think this term existed before the pandemic started. I'm sure it didn't. If it did exist, we never used it. I'm sure the words existed. Yeah. The actual concept of digital poverty began, I think, with the pandemic. And unfortunately, though, it's not going to end with the pandemic. It's going to continue. If we look at the obvious things that really strike out to people are things like food poverty, when there's no food on the table, when people are starving, they can't eat. Now, so digital poverty can sometimes sound a little bit insignificant, can't it, Chris? Where you think, so what? Someone's not got access to a laptop. Is that really the best? Is that really the end of the world? Someone's not got access to online. Is that really the end of the world, right? But let's think about this new climate we were talking about, where everything is now digital. I was talking to somebody yesterday. In fact, I went to see a kitchen yesterday. I won't go too much into that, but I went to see a kitchen yesterday with the reopening of showrooms, of course, and the rest of it. So wife said, let's get a kitchen. I said, all right, let's go. So went to see a kitchen. They were talking about a dishwasher, right? And I'll get to the point in a minute. But the dishwasher is a popular brand. And this dishwasher will automatically reorder your dishwasher tablets for you when they're running out. Yeah. So they'll just turn it from Amazon. We're talking about intelligent fridges, which are coming, right? Where the possibility of supermarkets almost donating you a fridge so that they can provide you with the contents of the fridge, like the milk and the rest of it, when it starts running out. Again, your automated shopping, right? Just about everything. There was an oven that was internet connected, right? So you could warm the oven before you get home. And being in the technology field, even being in the technology field, I found it a little bit daunting that there's so many people out there that firstly haven't got access to internet or good access to internet that's reliable. There's so many people out there that haven't got access to devices, and there's so many people out there that just don't have the skill level to be able to use these things. So they're just going to get left behind, Chris, right? So at Nibble, we sort of recognized the probably by chance, I would say. I think initially all we were doing is offering a helping hand. So we realized the fact that children needed education, they couldn't get online, they didn't have any devices, and that was very apparent very, very quickly in the pandemic. So we started lending out devices. We started selling devices very cheaply, but mainly on the lending front. As we began to run out of devices ourselves, we then partnered with the business community to almost rally around and say, look, look through your drawers, look through your boardroom cupboards, right? Look for old devices that you can find. And what we will do as Nibble, we will make these devices good. We'll put SSDs in them. We'll make the Windows 10 professional, and we will get these devices out to people that need them to be able to access the internet. So the problem for us really started, I think, around the younger generation. And Chris, as we got more into it, we found that the problem doesn't span a particular age group. The problem spans all the way from the age of 5 or 6, probably even less than that, all the way through to the age of 90 plus. Yeah. For families wanting to see their loved ones, for even something as simple as filling in the census. You couldn't really fill in the census this year without access to the internet and without access to a device. So the whole concept of digital poverty became as important as food poverty, because this is what you eat. Yeah, this is what you need to survive. Yeah, and you can't survive without digitization at the minute. And if you can't access digitization, you will get left behind. It does not form a very good landscape for not only our community, but for our cities and for our children.
Yeah. So again, we've worked with Ram and Darren on the call as well from Nibble, and Nibble are going to be our campaign partners on a work we're doing around digital poverty. And I think, Ram, you summed it up really well, because it's something that came out of the pandemic, but it's not going to disappear once we finally get over this and everything. In fact, it's probably, in a way, maybe getting even worse. Anything now, job interviews, they're all done via video links. If you're wanting to book a doctor's appointment, well, what do? You go online and do it that way. So again, it's right across society. More and more is being driven online, and if you don't have the basic access to it, it's unbelievable. And there's also the tales, about where young people are trying to do the homework on a mobile phone. I have difficulty doing phone calls on a mobile phone. God knows how you try and do a piece of work on it like that. It just baffles me. And it's no use saying, oh, it's okay because they've grown up with it. No, they may well have, but it's still not right, So Ram and the team there are absolutely fully 100% behind this, as we are there. And we're going to be doing a lot more work on that. We recorded a podcast last week about it, so look out for that in the next couple of weeks. Ram, I just want to finish off with one final question. Obviously, the pandemic may have affected your business at Nibble, but what advice can you offer to others about any new business models that are coming out, and what can Nibble do to help them with that?
Thanks, Chris. I would say innovate, invest. Yeah, and innovate again. I mean, the more you look at yourselves as a business, almost look at your business in a mirror, I would say, and then look at what you see, because what you see is very important. Because if that's not what the climate is now demanding, then that's not what will survive. So you need to be very, very wary of how it's looking out there. There is so much willingness out there, Chris, to do business. I just couldn't believe it. So as Nibble, we've never been, touch wood, never been so busy. Unfortunately, we are having to support some businesses that aren't doing, as well currently, and touch wood, with the right level of support, being human almost. You can almost help pull these businesses through and see the longevity. But what we've seen is an increase in employment. We've seen an increase in opportunity. We've found that there's different kinds of business going on, Chris, as well. So whereas it was just a basic level of infrastructure at one point, You know, people are now looking at cloud solutions. People are now looking to really transform how they do everything. Modern workplace is a massive 365 modern workplace is a huge growth area, you know. And I think if we hadn't innovated very quickly as Nibble, as a business, then I think we'd have been left behind with the rest of the crowd. I think with sort of providing that innovation, with sort of being willing to change, I think we're now able to change other people's businesses. And as part of the Chamber initiative, you know, as you're probably aware, Chris, we are very happy for any GM Chamber member to give you a health check on your business. Look at what you were doing before, look at what you're doing now, and look at what you, more importantly, could be doing. And I think that's the most important thing, because you only know what you know. Yeah, I'm not saying that we know everything, but we know a little bit about what other people are doing. So perhaps we can help you apply some of that good practice in your own business.
Superb, Ram. Thank you very much once again for taking the time this morning. And there's a couple of links gone through in the chat there for people wanting more information. We'll send those out after the event as part of the post-event follow-up. But Ram, thank you so much for joining us today. And once again, it's always a pleasure to speak to you, and it's always a little bit of inspiration as well that you need as well, coming and listening to you. So thank you so much for that. Absolutely superb. Of course, it is. We've got the focus on digital and tech this week, and we have got an event on the 15th of April, 2 p.m. till 3 p.m, focusing on all sorts of things to do with digital and technology sector as well, around green agenda, including digital poverty, and of course the COVID response as well. And I believe Ram is also speaking at that event on Thursday, so there's another chance there to catch up with him at that. And speaking of events, it's a nice little segue there, if not use of a crowbar, I think, really. But the world of events has obviously changed as well, hasn't it? Like I said before, a lot more now being done virtually. But of course, we do have our conference facilities at Elliott House, and I'm really pleased to welcome General Manager Nathan Chu from Chamber Space, just to give us an update on what's going on. Nathan, we've seen yesterday, the first phase of the reopening plan. We've got another couple of phases coming through, and they'll obviously be impacting a little bit on what's going on. But what have you got in your immediate future around the roadmap, and also what you're doing there at Elliott House at Chamber HQ to make sure we're ready to welcome people back?
Yeah, hi Chris, and hello everyone else. It's really nice to see you all here, and I think it's been a fascinating event and really interesting to hear Ram and Mo speak about the future. And but in the here and now, where we are, obviously, hopefully some of you got to enjoy that reopening that we saw yesterday. And you know, a lot of the businesses out there, hopefully they had a very positive day in the freezing sunshine as the bars and some of the outdoor restaurants opened. Where we are as a conference facility at the moment, we've been, just to say, I think it's worth noting, we've been open as a conference centre since the 1st of August. So we haven't actually closed our doors in all that time. And, you know, I think it's really comforting to a lot of the clients that I speak to now, reassuring to let them know that we've been running all sorts of essential events for the Home Office, ACCA exam courses, all those sorts of things that were permitted to go ahead. We've had that experience of running that. So I always say, when people say, well, when are you reopening? We are open, we have been open. And I think, you know, it's worth saying that. But it is looking a lot more positive out there. We're open now, and many conference and business meeting venues are open for essential business meetings. But as you'll probably know, indoor events cannot restart until the 17th of May. At the earliest. I think that's always worth adding at the end of everything you say. But from that date, the idea is that with social distancing in place, that all these businesses, these business centres like Chamber Space and others, can actually hold a really wide variety of events. I don't think a lot of people are aware of that, but private dinners, drinks receptions, sort of more social events, as well as your conferences, training courses, and those sorts of things, are permitted to happen from that 17th of May date. So that's very, very exciting. And then the roadmap continues on to no earlier than June the 21st, when potentially with mitigation, all bets are off, and the world can reopen again. And I hope we're all sort of hoping for that, but also preparing to manage, you know, what it might really look like at that stage. But we've been very, very busy.
Yeah, I just want to pick up on that bit, because, like you said, it's important to say, you haven't actually closed down; it's been open throughout. But you've also been working on a number of different things as well. We've got some more venues to offer, and also a new offer around hybrid events. One of the things people keep saying is, well, is it all going to go back to face to face? Is it going to be virtual? Is it going to be that mix? You've been doing quite a bit of work around the hybrid event bit, haven't you, as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Ram made a really good point earlier when he said, if you've got to look at yourself now, and are you innovating, and are you changing enough to be relevant for the times that are ahead? And I think we've been working really hard on that as a team collectively at the Chamber, and also within the the venue services. So some really exciting news that's going to be coming out through our various channels over the next few weeks. And I think one of them is, you saw Mo and the fantastic work that the team are doing over at Host in Media City. Well, really excitingly for us, one of the things that we want to be able to offer all our members and other clients that come in to use the spaces that we have is more choice. And you may have already heard, but we are going to announce more formally this week that Host at Media City will be a place for Chamber Space clients. So Chamber Space at Media City is the venues facilities that they have there will now be part of the collective Chamber Space offers, and all our existing members and new members to come will be able to access that. And it's the spaces that really do sort of complement each other. One's in the heart, the digital heart of the city, and obviously we're right there in the sort of financial and retail heart of the city, and opposite spinning fields. So it's a really exciting prospect to be working with them and to be able to offer that to our clients. And also we've got a venue over in Bolton, Commerce House, which we've been working on over the lockdown period to prepare an offer that's probably more suited for social enterprises and charities, so we can look to support them in with space and opportunities to collaborate. Because I think that'll be the change, and that's one of the things that we've done here with that sort of new hybrid offer, which I'll tell you about, is to create spaces where people will be coming in to collaborate in person. And that's the difference. I mean, a lot of people say to you, we'll never meet again. It's not necessary, but I think we all know it absolutely is necessary. It's not that everyone's going to go back to the way it was, where they're sitting at desks with each, 24/7 every day of the week. So those spaces need to become more suited to really allow people to create and collaborate effectively when they do come into us, the workspaces or the meeting spaces or the conferences. So that's a really exciting part of it. And you mentioned the hybrid. And this is probably our sort of digital part of the offer that I can talk about today to make I sound a bit like Mo or Ram in my expertise of digital. But we've done some really exciting work on the hybrid event. And I know a lot of people sort of think, well, I kind of know what hybrid is, but really, yes, you've got some people in a room and a camera in a room, but it's much more than that. And I think Leanne's going to share a video of, we were the first venue in Manchester to hold a true hybrid event on the 1st of October last year in conjunction with an organisation called Unique Venues of Manchester. So do take a look at that, but you'll see, I think the message to get across is the support that we can offer as a chamber, as a venue, with the new sort of digital hybrid event world, gives businesses an insight, and not to what it looks like, how it runs, but the opportunities. Because the opportunities for hybrid are massive. You're not just talking about we're streaming a message out, you're streaming your static conference out to the world. There's real engagement to be had and real return on investment to be had by using these new platforms, these new digital engagement tools that are out there. But you're getting the best of both worlds. And we're really excited to launch that. And we've already had some really good uptake from some existing clients and associations. So, as we get this message out, I'd be really interested if anyone is thinking, what will my event look like as a hybrid event, and what can I actually get out of it that I couldn't from the pure physical events before? Get in touch with the team at the Chamber, because we've been working hard on this, and we're working with some really experienced partners to be able to deliver it.
Excellent. So we got a note in the chat from Sonia Curtis saying she attended the event in October. It was very well done. So there you go.
Oh, lovely to see you again, Sonia. I remember you being there.
Super. Thank you. Just one final thing, Nathan, before you go, because you are in Elliot House. Either that or you've got some lovely artwork on your wall at home in the bedroom. The social offer is also quite important as well, because it's not all about business. It's how people socialise as well, isn't it? Where does that take in the Chamber Space offer?
Yeah, I think you can see from yesterday and the sort of scenes from the various newspapers and stuff today how important the actual social interaction, getting out and meeting people in an environment that is sort of fun and engaging and all that sort of thing. And that's a big part of hospitality, obviously. And we've always been in that space. We've had our wedding offer. We've done sort of drinks receptions and private dinners. But we're working. It's quite an exciting relationship with Gusto that they're building back to reopen on May the 17th. So a big part of our offer, because the way we see it, is if this goes the way that we all hope it will go, is the demand for people to, you look at things like Christmas parties, social drinks events, business or individuals, weddings, bar mitzvahs, all that sort of thing are going to be a really important part of the sort of re-engagement of society. And the work we're doing with Gusto is to really join our two offers together, and with host at Media City, who also have bar, restaurant, kitchen facilities, is to enable all our members to experience both our beautiful venues and hold the events they want to hold. Because I think space is going to be, I hope space will be at a premium for those types of events towards the end of the year. I wouldn't like to be anywhere near town on what they used to call Mad Friday this year coming, but in our venue you can come in and have a very sane Friday. But I just say watch this space. I think it's going to be a really exciting period for events in general, but that social offer is really important. We're working hard to come up with something for our customers, members and clients.
That's superb, Nathan. Thank you so much for that update. Always, again, another sort of burst of inspiration there, and great to hear what the team's up to actually back at the Chamber offices. And there's a lot more to come. And as you said, look out over the next couple of weeks for more information on that. So that concludes our talks, our speakers for today. With just a quick reminder of upcoming events. I mentioned already the Digital and Tech event on Thursday. Next Tuesday is a busy day. We've got our Chamber networking, which takes place alternate to Chamber Live. That's taking place in the morning. And then next Tuesday as well, on another partner show we've got, which is actually based over in Media City as well. Top sales expert Andy Bounds is the guest on the Logros show, which is hosted by Lee Dinsdale on Unity Radio. So if you want to listen into that, please do so. That's 1 till 2. And then straight after that, we've got our Greater Manchester Mural Hustings event. On the afternoon of the 20th, that's 2 till 3:30, and you get a chance to ask the candidates in the mayoral election for the next Greater Manchester Mayor. You've got the chance to ask them questions about what they're going to do should they win. Andy Burnham is confirmed for that, and we've got the other candidates lined up as well. So that should be another great event. That's all done through virtual means and Zoom. And obviously the election takes place on May the 6th. It's less than a month off now. That will creep up. Make sure you do use your vote. Your events brief will be hitting your inboxes later on today with more details and information and how to book and the links, etc., to all those events. Thank you once again to all our speakers, to Mo, to Ram, to Nathan, as well as all the backroom staff here as well, including Leanne, who's the absolute doyen of Zoom events now at the Chamber, and has learned so much and makes it all look absolutely seamless. But it is superb. And again, because we've been live streaming on YouTube today, it's another little thing that we can do just to make sure we're getting these fantastic things that we're doing, these fantastic people we're working with, out to a much wider audience. Why do we want to do that? Because we want to make Greater Manchester the best place to do business in the UK. I think we've got a great start. We can just make it better. So thank you once again. Stay safe, everyone, but perhaps more importantly as well, stay warm as well. I'm sure the sun will actually break through at some stage and we can finally put the heavy coat, the big coat, back in the wardrobe for another 12 months. Have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your week. Thanks very much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.